channel to get it out of your way and get the full visual effect of the webinar. Again, welcome to you if you've never attended one of these webinars before. We hope you'll find them helpful and continue to attend them and register for them and attend them in future. If you've got another dual monitor set up with a second desktop, just go ahead and drag the control bar over there, gets that out of the way, allows you to get the full visual presentation that we've got here. Before we get started, I'm sorry, I know this is repeat information for folks who've attended these before, but just bear with me. At our website, I'm going to open Church Windows. We're going to be working with version 17.14.1 today. We released the first patch for Church Windows version 17 early, sometime last week. I forget exactly when. Here under our download current updates page, we do have the 17.14.1 update. Please install that if you haven't already done so. We're working on SR2 now. And we want you to be up to date with the latest bug fixes and patches for things as possible. So please make sure to get that if your opening window doesn't say 17.14.1. Also, unfortunately, due to our call volume, our support callback times are not what we like them to be. We apologize for that, of course. If you have never been there before, please visit our support blog under support down here, okay, on the left-hand side. It is being upgraded constantly, and this is separated even by module. And if you're waiting for us and it takes us an hour or two to get back to you, you may be able to find the answer to your question here under the support blog. There's a wonderful search field, as well as as being separated by or post by module here in the upper or at the top bar here. We see that the modules, you can click on each module to see what each one of the various postings are available for that. Okay. And also finally, this is really, really important. At the down the left side again under support, be aware that we've got a specific link called CW version 17 resources. That page is being constantly updated. In fact, we're working on getting as many of these recordings of the webinars out here available on this version 17 resources page soon. We're hoping to have those out here between now, I hope, and the end of this week. So please check this page. It's chock full of information and only getting larger each and every day. So we're trying to provide as much information as we can possible. And then, of course, if you're on support, please feel free to contact us. We're happy, all of our support technicians are happy to answer any questions that we can for you. Version 17 is definitely new and bringing on a lot of new changes for folks. So yes, Marla's here. She's answering questions for me. If you've got questions, please type those to her in the questions portion. She will get to it as quickly as possible. She may advise that you call technical support up with a question that you may have, not because she doesn't want to answer it, but we generally need more information about your particular database structure, your setup, what have you, in order to provide you with an intelligent or good answer on that. Okay. All right. Let's talk about our membership reports, new membership report types and uses here. Okay. The material I'm using is being taken directly from our Membership 204 workbook. So just FYI for you that these workbooks are all being rewritten for the new version 17. And so again, the material that we're using for all of these webinar presentations are being taken from our training workbooks. So they are useful and helpful. So the reports that we're talking about here is that when we're in version 17, we click on membership here under our reports. And we choose report directory export here. Hopefully everybody can see that there. We click on that. The very first window that opens now is what we call the people picker. Basically this is where you would enter criteria for your, who you want to see on your report or your list or what have you. And for the purposes of our webinar today, we're just going to simply click right on through that to get to the report options screen. And so what we're really here to discuss today are these options here in the upper right here, the various options labeled, basic, custom, mail merge export, all information, directory, and directory export. Okay, that's what we're here and we're going to be discussing. Okay. These are more reporting options than we've ever had in Church Windows before in membership, in any membership version. I mean, the other version was great, but this is just simply superior in the level of flexibility that it offers our users. Okay. When we click on the default when it shows up here is basic. Normally, if we didn't have one in here or several of them in here, this would normally show up with the default, which is basic columnar report. Okay, that report by default includes your name, addresses, and home phone for the individual or families in question that you've asked for on your query. Okay, that basic columnar report cannot be edited or changed. Okay, other reports that you create can, and the same would be true for any of our other report types. Custom is basically as close to a word processing or custom report writer feature that Church Windows, the new version of Church Windows or Church Windows now has. Basically, when we click on custom and we're going to click new or edit, in that case, notice that our select fields option or button is not available for that. When we click on that, you're basically saying you want to create a custom report from scratch. I mean, everything. It really provides some really intricate detail of the fields that you're choosing, the fonts, the styles, the positions that they fall, the separators, headers, footers, everything about that is really, it is customized in the truest sense. So when I click on that under custom, it's now opening the report designer essentially, okay? And that's what I mean about how this is a blank slate waiting for you to be able to create and design and customize a report virtually any way you wish. Now, this is probably something that you can dive in and play with, okay? There's really no way to break this per se. You may not like a layout that you've entered here, but you can always discard it, okay? So just be aware that the defaults that we build into the system cannot be overwritten. They can be deleted if I'm not mistaken, but they cannot be changed or overwritten. So you always have the defaults of these reports to fall back on. So here I would say enter a name for your layout. I did, and we're at to go ahead and enter something there. Again, we're not really to talk about the report designer today, so I'm not going to spend really any more time on that. But again, it's as close to word processing or customizing Church Windows, the membership reports, as it's ever been and is going to be. Mail merge export, to the right of that, it does literally create a text file or a .csv, comma separated value file, separated file that contains information fields that you can export and into another program. Whether that's Word or Excel or Word Perfect or Publisher or what have you, and then you can manipulate the data however you wish in that other program. Okay. All information just below that is literally just that. It is an all information field. The one I'm talking about is right down here, all information, and that is literally just as it's described. It's an all information report that includes all of the lists, all of the membership information for each person in the report or household. You can add and remove fields to or columns from it to be adjusted. And adjust them to a preferred order. So, so here under our column selector, notice if I click select fields, allows me to be able to choose and export virtually any information I wish about my people over to just basically produce a report. Let's see, what other information do we have here? Yeah, basic all information. So that's the basic all information report. So like our basic columnar report under our basic option, if I choose basic all information and I try to click select fields, notice it pops up with a dialog box now that says fields cannot be changed for this default layout, basic all information. Please create a new report layout. Okay, so again, you always have the default to fall back on. All right, I would click new right here, and we're going to come back to these edit new and select fields buttons here in just a minute. Okay, but you can create as many new all information fields to control what fields you want to see on the report as you wish. But if I choose just the basic all information and simply click print, the basic information report separated by person now, notice, right down here is our separator, is it shows, Beth Adams first, and then all of the membership information for her, and then it moves on down to the list to Jan, etc. So this is as described. It is literally an all information report about the information about the people that you've asked to display on your people picker screen. Who do we want to see, essentially? Okay. Directory is a directory. That right here, directory, right there, directory is the report that basically includes either any pre-formatted reports that we build into the system for directory, or any directories that you create. Okay, here. So here we've got our classic horizontal directory, multi-column. We've added a classic 3-column directory in SR1. We've got some, these are all the ones that we've built in, and there would be others listed here as well. So notice here now that when I choose any one of my pre-formatted directory options, the one labeled select fields is not available. The only way that I can do that or select fields is when I click new to create a brand new directory here if I wish. And finally, our directory export is again is a text or .txt or .csv file with all of the same information that would be included on your directory here, exported in the upper right here. Notice we've got the right up here export options, where we can choose where we want the file to go. That's a browse button essentially, and then we would simply enter the file name and choose whether it's a tab or comma separated file, and give it an export name if it's one that we're going to be exporting again or using again in future. Okay, but again, it's the thing about the directory options, and I mean both the directory and our directory export, is that those two particular options look exclusively for the two fields in membership called include on directory, and the other field called directory/report order. If directory include on directory is set to no, then the person will not show up no matter which one of these directory options you choose. Also, it is important for the system, so it knows how to organize the family unit, which one of those which directory report order code is assigned to the proper person. So you have to make sure directory report order code is assigned to people as well. There are other uses for it too, but the directory is probably the most important reason as to why we want to do that. So as indicated, again, notice for directory export I don't have anything other than select fields. There's no edit or new, because again, it just allows us to choose what fields we want to choose for the export file. There really is nothing to edit or create new in there other than perhaps a new file name here on the right. If we go back to our basic option here, we do have our edit, new, and select fields buttons. Okay, so like in the case of and what I'm talking about here, let me grab my highlighter, are these three buttons right here: edit, new, and select. Okay, the edit button is only going to be useful for us when we've got an option in here that we can edit. Okay, so if I choose my basic columnar report, well, what it is going to do is it's going to open up my report designer. So what I'm saying is then at that point I'm not trying to manipulate the fields that are on the report, I'm trying to manipulate the layout of the report itself. So when we click on edit, even for basic columnar, notice it opens up the layout that we've created, allowing you to edit that if you wish. New is basically allowing us to create a new report. So if I click test report here and I create one called test report and click OK, it now replaces my basic columnar report with test. Now I can go to my select fields to the right, and notice here on the upper right it is allowing me to, it's still showing my same information fields, name, address, block, home phone that I would for the basic columnar, but now it's allowing me to manipulate and move fields back and forth here if I wish. Okay, learning to use these new and edit new and select fields is really the key to understanding how the new reporting and reporting feature works in the new membership module. Okay, I don't need to go to necessarily the report designer when maybe all I need to do is be more selective about which fields I want to include on the report. Okay, that's really it. I mean, we're not going to get into the report designer again in detail today. Again, it's a much more complicated topic. But we want you to know that under the select fields, I can go, oh, well, now I've got my basic, my new report that I've created. Now I can basically pick and choose fields that I want, and using the up and down arrows, reorder them however I wish. And that's just creating a report for me, with columns in order. Okay, there's really the system just formats them based on the order that you choose. Okay, the report designer is really a layout function. Report options. It talks about up here in the upper right, our report options. I'm talking about right up here. We do have the ability to be able to create a report with a page break for each person, page break on primary sort field, and that sort field is a sort option on the previous window. You can even create an alphabetic page break, so A's on page 1, B's on page 2, etc. Uppercase name, uppercase last name is an option, so if you want to bring those out for the last name, you can have the option to include year and birth date if you wish, and include an alphabetic heading. These just simply make the reports more interesting to read. Okay, so if we do, let's say, a alphabetic heading, I can even change the style and the color of that, and then simply when I click print, notice it just puts the letter A here in the upper left corner, introducing that, and eventually when I go on to the next page somewhere along the line, I will be able to see B somewhere. There it is, B, C, etc. Okay. So just some more reporting options that don't require us to use the report designer feature. Organization info right here. This basically allows us to edit the information as it appears on the report themselves. To add new information, you simply click the plus sign here. It opens up and allows us to enter additional organization contact information, or DBA, doing business as. Otherwise, the system normally defaults to just choosing whatever we have in our system profile screen. Okay. The nice thing about this is you can edit it all right here. So if I go, oh, my 41st church of any town is wrong, I can literally just click the pencil here. It opens up the window and allows me to edit the current existing information. I can also delete something in here if I don't like it. So if I highlight it and click the minus sign, it says, is your primary, oh, here it's now telling us, yeah, I can't delete this because this would remove it from my system information. Only if I added another one would it allow me to delete that. Okay. So an example, maybe a little in more detail, we only have a few minutes more left here about this, is to go back and maybe walk through a basic, query, then going to our, basic reports and walking through that. So here, again, what it's talking about, we've gone back at the bottom to the previous window, the people picker screen, essentially. So notice we got several tabs. People, where we can enter membership criteria. We can choose members, visitors, even those with inactive status. Maybe those with or without giver numbers. Those in our particular groups. Okay. But essentially, this is where you would enter criteria. So let's say under our select a membership field, we choose status. And now here, notice we've got the option to put check marks in here for which people that we want to include. So we're going to choose active, associate, and inactive members. And then down the right side, we're going to click Save, Add Selection. So it now adds that at on the right side here. And I can continue to add criteria to this report if I wish, using the and, the or, and or the parentheses options here. Okay. So I can build some very complicated queries here using that and or those parentheses here if I wish. Okay. We're going to say we're going to leave that as our criteria for this report. Yes, you can query on giving and pledging information that's related to donations if you wish. Also, you can also request information based on specific giving accounts and donations as well. Okay. But so we've entered criteria of those with active member status code. We simply click Next. Here then is where we would, choose it defaults to basic up here. You would choose your report option. In this case, we'll just choose basic columnar report. Again, really maybe what all we are interested in is the just names, addresses, and phone numbers if we wish. If that's it, you don't have to do anything else. Okay. And you can simply click print here in the lower right corner, or export to export the document. So if I click now on print, it now brings up my list of names, addresses, and phone numbers. Again, don't forget, I did already create another report that would allow me to manipulate the fields if I did want to see something else on the report other than just name, address, and phone number. But I would have to choose that from my list. So here's my test report. Now I can go to select fields. Here now I can add, remove fields to and from my visible columns on the right side. And again, using the arrows, highlighting fields and clicking the arrows, and then using the order button there to reorder those. And then that's just saves that report for me with those new formats, with those new fields that I've added. Okay, so we're very short on time here. A request to see an example of the exporting, Marla's saying, just walk through it. So sure, just in like how easy it is in say it is in donations or accounting. I'm now not talking about the mail merge export per se, but they're very similar in terms of how they work. This allows us to control the file. Even if I were to go down here and choose like my basic report, okay, let's say I did want to export my basic columnar report. I can click export down here. It opens up my export document, and I have the option here to choose either export document or send via email. And one of the things I always point out is notice these little drop-down arrows here. Here's all of the file formats that I can actually export this basic columnar report as. The default is PDF, okay? But I can choose Excel or XLSX or CSV or text file. So let's say I do want to choose Excel. I enter some export options, some sheet information about it if I wish. It then requires that I save it. So here it's saving it as an Excel document automatically. Assuming then that I have Excel or OpenOffice on my machine, I simply click, if I want to see the report, I simply click yes to the do you want to open this file. And there is my basic columnar report in 3 mouse clicks exported to Excel. That simple and that easy. Great question. All right, I'm done. All right, thank you, folks. Again, I'm wrapping up what I'm talking about here now. We're going to stick around, and we're going to be happy to answer questions for you. So if you've got to go, leave by all means. Please use the file menu and choose exit, leave webinar. Thank you so much. We hope to see you at another webinar. If not, by all means, we'll be sticking around and happy to answer questions for you. All right, so I'm kind of just looking at our, perusing our questions here, seeing if anything's popping in here. Gene's asking, how many options can we put in for the directory? Wow, Gene, honestly, I don't know. As far as I'm aware, that's pretty unlimited. As far as I'm aware, you can probably put in hundreds, if not thousands, of directory formats if you wish, or custom, as the case may be. Heidi's asking, can you walk through a mail merge to show the difference? Sure. Mail merge, notice down here it still shows export. But over here, basically, under the options, Heidi, it allows me to choose. I have to create a report name here. So I'm going to call this, export list. Click OK. I have to choose the information fields that I want to export. We'd have to add, it's going to default to adding just first name and last name to the export list, but you have to decide which information fields you want to add. Once you click OK, now we can choose the export window where, again, it's going to be, opening up our option to enter the list and our, choose where we're wanting to export the file. It calls it export list, my file name, unless I decide to enter it as something, different. And I have to, again, choose my tab or comma delimiter and then simply click on export. And it just tells me that the file exists. So it tells me where I put it and would I like to open the folder. So when I click yes on that, it opens up to the location where I put where I saved the file. So I think it's further down here. Here it is, export list down here. Okay, folks, we're getting a lot of questions about specific reports that you're needing. If you do have questions about a particular report, please call us, 1-800-533-5227. Our support technicians will be glad to help. Again, we've got a short time frame here, and again, there's not enough time to go through all of these, I'm afraid. How to build a report for pledging units. Again, that would probably be a report about Eileen from donations. Again, call support if you have questions about that. Again, Jennifer, I think the baptism report is all about asking for the information on the previous window down here under our people picker. You know, baptism date is, you know, within a specific range or is not blank or something like that. And then again, creating either a basic report, creating your new one, and allowing you to add your specific fields, including baptism date if you wish. Lynn, I think that's a question that we'll need to ask you to call in for support about. On how to build two columns for a basic info report. I'm pretty sure that that's going to be under the edit option, where here under our edit, it would allow us here somewhere. Again, I'm not sure exactly where exactly. Somewhere in this option here under the report designer is where it gives us the option to enter two columns. Yeah, again, Eileen, the question would be about a query from either membership or donations. Again, using the pledging or giving, you know, those who have not pledged or those who have pledged. Yeah, Diana, we're trying our best to get these webinars out on the version 17 resources page as quickly as we can. Heidi's asking, will security definitions interfere with what information we can grab, like the info from donations? You bet, Heidi. You know, if you've got limited or restricted access for donations, that's definitely going to impact what you have the ability to see and choose in your membership module as well. Great questions, folks. I'm just making sure I haven't missed something here. Yeah, okay, so it looks like we've gotten everything here, folks. Again, it's about 2:30 Eastern Time. Just, you know, again, not trying to rush folks off here, but I'm not seeing any other questions coming in here. What I'm going to go ahead and do then is end the webinar for everyone. Thank you so much for attending. We have other webinars the rest of this week, I think on tomorrow and Friday. We hope to see you there. If not, we hope to see you at another future webinar at some point soon. So we'll be working on the December list now. We hope to see you there. Thank you all so much. Take care. Bye-bye.